Welcome again to the journey of the adult education program of Winfield United Methodist Church in Winfield, Kansas. Grace United Methodist, we call ourselves as a family of faith. And we're taking a look at COVID through the lens of faith. And we're well aware of all the discussion about the impact of COVID, but our journey is to look at it through the lens of faith. And this week, I want us to consider an emerging trend, which before the pandemic was like a voice crying in the wilderness. But as a result of the pandemic, has become an understanding that all of us have been exposed to and must consider as a part of our life together. And this understanding is that our national citizenship must be understood in the context of our global citizenship. Now, global citizenship is the understanding that what we have in common with all human beings throughout the world far exceeds any differences we have. Again, global citizenship is the understanding that what we have in common with all human beings throughout the world far exceeds any differences we have. This understanding is that when we refer to the common good, it has no respect for boundaries or nations or class. It's the understanding that we're on this journey together, and it doesn't refer to my clan or my family or my community or my state or my nation. Rather, it has to do with every human being on this planet Earth. Now, before COVID, this understanding of the importance of global citizenship was indeed faintly heard, a voice crying in the wilderness, and was often identified with the green movement throughout the world, voicing that to make decisions for the sake of the planet Earth must be built on the foundation of global citizenship. Even in the midst of celebrities and common folk throughout the world affirming this growing understanding of global citizenship, the majority either ignored or rejected any notion that putting what was best for a nation was secondary to what was best for the world. However, from February 2020 until today, some events and experiences during the pandemic intensified the voice of global citizenship. The voice crying in the wilderness became the voice of the evening news. Early in the pandemic, throughout the world, people became aware that, for instance, my personal health in Winfield, Kansas, was going to be determined by what was happening in countries on other continents. COVID, an almost invisible entity, paid no heed to national boundaries, race, or class. When vaccinations became available, nations of wealth purchased more than they needed, but soon understood that hoarding vaccination denied a reality that had to be addressed throughout the world, for unaddressed in one locale made the spread of COVID more likely throughout the world. Often during the pandemic, scientists in one nation, a country far removed from my country, developed strategies and treatment and preventions that were immediately shared without any proprietary standards, keeping those discoveries to themselves. You see, during the height of the pandemic, it became increasingly obvious that no race, no class, no culture, no nation is an island, detached, who could cope with COVID alone. What a phenomenon of the pandemic. And our question is, what is our response to the understanding of global citizenship through the lens of our faith? What jumps out to me, first of all, most quickly, is the most quoted verse in the library of the Christian church, and that is John 3:16, for God so loved Israel? No. God so loves the United States? No. God loves any nation of the world? No. It's God so loved the world. And this is a hard pillow for nationalists to swallow who are convinced they are God's chosen people. Rather, John 3:16 reads, God so loved the world. If this is not the basis of an understanding of global citizenship, I don't know what is. Another response through the lens of faith is the importance of the listening ear. In the journey of faith, often we become so enamored with teaching and proclamation that we lose touch with the truth that the beginning of wisdom is the listening ear. So often we who are committed to listening are more prone to listen to those who have the megaphones and the platform of certain positions of power, and fail to tune in to the voices in the wilderness. These voices, often faint and foreign, are the fountain of truth. We must listen to all the citizens of every nation throughout the world. You see, we give a lot of attention to speaking the vital truth, but speaking is only one half of the equation. The other half is listening, for indeed, wisdom begins with the art of the listening ear. Another response through the lens of faith is that there is always adequate and sometimes an abundance of persons who will take care of their part of the whole. Their part might be a nation, clan, state, or family, but who are called to take care of the whole. See, I think the caretakers of the whole earth, the caretakers of the global community, are persons of faith who can be patriarchal citizens of their nation, but who believe that patriotism to a nation must always be exceeded by their commitment to the world that God loves so much. That is, you see, the understanding of global citizenship, which has been intensified in our common experience in the pandemic. One of the great hymns of the faith that we sing, not as often as we probably should, but maybe more in the future than in the past because of the growing awareness and elevation of the importance of global citizenship, is 437. This is my song. This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and near. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine. And I must include the third verse. This is our prayer, O Lord, of all the earth's kingdoms. Thy kingdom come on earth, thy will be done. Let Christ be lifted up until all shall serve him, and hearts united learn to live as one. Oh, hear a prayer, O God of all the nations. Myself I give thee. Let thy will be done. And the voice of faith is global citizenship is what we all must consider as our own. I hope you're enjoying the journey that we're taking together. Let me ask some questions that might start your thought in our conversation. First, in 2023, what are the examples of global citizenship emerging as a determining value in dealing with particular issues? Secondly, in 2023, what are the examples of the tensions and sometimes conflict between national and global citizenship? And finally, who are the voices of global citizenship today? Thank you for being a part of our journey.